Oh, howdy. Didn't see you there. And nah, I didn't mean that psycho right there. I meant you, viewer, the one who clicked on this video. Alright, so, for now, you all can just call me Stan. Or Stanley. Doesn't matter to me. But yeah, Stan, like, Stan from South Park. Just want you to know he's my favorite character from that show and the games. But, so a little bit about me. I've been playing video games since I was a kid. I'd say 4. Yeah, 4 years old. That's when I started playing like those DreamWorks games like Shrek, Over the Hedge, and also at that time is when I was introduced to Halo. Um, yeah, crazy. A 4-year-old playing Halo Combat Evolved, and it was at that time where Halo became my favorite franchise up until 343 or Halo Studios, whatever you want to call them, did what they did. But why do I want to do this YouTube thing? Well, not YouTube thing. I sound really old saying that. I'm only 27. But why did I want to start a YouTube channel? Um, I always wanted to start a YouTube channel back in high school, but there's some problems that arose at the time. Being a young high schooler, I didn't have a job, so money was an issue. And trying to convince my parents to get me a computer along with other recording stuff was way out of the question. But there's also that I had to deal with certain health issues, which are still ongoing to this day. Trying to better handle them as time goes on, but do what you can, right? Um, Also, I just wasn't really able to apply myself to wanting to do that. I was the type of guy who was just more laid back and just let things go on without having to really do anything, if that makes sense. And I just didn't really have any video editing or presentation skills that would factor into how well I would do these type of things. But as they say, no time like the present, and the present is the new year. And I just also at the time, it would have been cool to post videos and on how I play games and experiences I have when it comes to playing games, because everyone's got a different gaming experience, and not everything is 1 to 1 when it comes to playing games. Like you could do such and such in one game, but then your friend's like, "Oh no, this happened to me," and you're just like, "Oh, that's never happened." So I just wanted to turn my hobby of playing video games into a more different hobby, so to say. So I did have an initial timeline of what I wanted to start this and how far I thought I'd get along with it, but that didn't seem to work out as expected. So let me just give you the rundown. I got the computer I have right now, mid late April 2025, and at the time I thought, once I get this set up, I'd be ready to go and all that. No, it turns out I didn't really hook my computer up the right way, so at first it wasn't turning on, and then once it was turning on, the power button was actually connected to the reset button, so that didn't make any sense. Um, I didn't have a monitor. Yeah, weird how I buy and make a computer, but I don't have a screen to put it on. So I thought I could just hook it up to my TV. No, that wouldn't really make much sense, so had to get that. Plus Elgato. Um, Other things, including me not taking the initial time to learn how to set up recordings on OBS or understanding this current software that I use to make these edits. And just FYI, I'm still learning how to do that, but it's gonna take time. repetition is the best form of practicing, and that's what I'm going through right now. Also, to say that there were some games I initially started to record that just ultimately didn't work out in the end. First one being was Final Fantasy 16. Um, I recorded probably about 2 hours with half of that time just being cutscenes because I didn't realize that that game's cutscenes were as long as a Metal Gear Solid or Yakuza levels of cutscenes. um, and when I finally looked at it, um, one, I couldn't hear myself with the mic I have, and two, it was also out of sync. Um, I didn't realize there was a certain setup I had where it was playing from my desktop as opposed to just having the audio come out through the Elgato. Um, and Gears of War Reloaded, which had the same issue, video desync and lack of audio desync. Um, and then I had Chronos New Dawn, a game that I was kind of excited to play since I considered it a somewhat successor to Dead Space instead of what would have been the Callisto Protocol. Um, that game just ultimately looked too dark, like there was too much color variation for some reason. And, again, more audio and video desync. Um, and also at that time, I was playing Expedition 33. Um, it would have definitely broke my heart if I had tried to record that and it didn't come out the way I expected. So, yeah, I missed my chance to record and play the game of the year. But, you know, things happen and things do happen for a reason. um, but to continue on with that, as I was just about to finally get the grasp on things like this, had a family emergency, so that definitely slowed things down, and that was late July, early August. Once I got back, I eventually got to recording Battlefield 6. Well, that came out in October, and should be uploaded by now. I have 4 parts currently up, but with that, I had the same issue of my mic not being on the proper tracks. So the audio from both the game and myself ended up coming out on one track, and I didn't realize how to separate them up until yesterday. Always takes time. But no, in that same time between October till now, I was playing, well, finishing Final Fantasy 16, playing both Outer Worlds 1 and Outer Worlds 2. I had a blast playing all of those. I will say, I also recorded one other game, or 2 other games. Just can't wait to upload those, but you guys will see what those are. But yeah, I did just rapid fire a list of games that I tried to play and record, but what games do I like to play? And to answer that question, I honestly don't know. Um, I do more so like RPG style games, but having to play RPGs would take a lot of time, considering on what it is, i.e., Final Fantasy. I think that took me well over 50-ish hours to complete. Um, but I do more so like action adventure games, shooters, some racing games. Anything that just looks that looks good. What I think would have a cool story, or even if it's a goofy game. um, so it all just depends on who made it. Should I give it a chance? Should I not? Do my friends recommend it? Would I see any recommendations online? Etc. Etc. Um, so what do I want to get out of doing YouTube? Well, like I said before, it's a hobby of mine. Playing video games, I mean, not YouTube. I haven't really got into the ground running with wanting, not wanting, but having to do this. But I just want to come up with a schedule in which works best for me, and also wanted to stream on Twitch as well. Um, I will have that popped up somewhere, the Twitch name and all that. But still not sold on the name. It may change. Maybe the YouTube name will change too. But we'll see. I'll keep workshopping it, get some ideas from my friends, see what they say. Um, but I did mention that, or I don't remember if I did mention. I don't even know how long I've been talking at this point. But back during my early years in high school, I've been watching those I've been subscribed to, most notably Rad Bread. Um, he's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, just because he was always playing games, was always having fun doing it, and that's what I like. There's also the Creature Hub, if any of you guys remember them. They were always playing, multiplayer games and all that, and I just was thinking it'd be cool to just play games with my friends and have those weird conversations going on just for entertainment. Have help everyone just have a good old laugh throughout the day and whatnot. But there's also some other people that I have been watching as recently as a few years back. Like Alpharad and Corey Kenshin. Those guys are pretty funny, and I do like the content that they produce. So I subscribe to them. But it's just that YouTube was one of those things that I was thinking maybe one day, right? Um, it's just one of those things that you just aspire to do, but time just gets away from you, and then one day you're thinking about it, and the next day you're like, oh shoot, I haven't thought about this in so many years, or that you want to do it, but you don't have the funds to necessitate what you'd want to do. Um, but you know, as I sit here and just watch this old recording of back when me and my buddy were playing Borderlands 4, just having a literal blast. um, you'll see it at some point. There's just some random glitches going on, as my friend seemed lagging out at that point. Um, but really wasn't. It's just those the little things that comes when it comes to playing games that you just want to have a laugh. With that said, I'm a little on the fence on the type of style I'd like to produce. Whether it's having to just go out and just record every bit and commentate while I'm playing the game, or having to just record no voiceover during those, but then edit all together and voice over those whole segments. Um, post commentary editing. Um, I mean, I can see the pros and cons of both. But I would say I'm not really a talkative person when I'm playing games. Uh, I'm always in that I'm locked in moment. So at times I'll just sit there, focus on the game, totally forgetting to talk, unless I'm, you know, chatting with my friends at the moment. But I'm more so just locked in. Um, but as I sit through, while I look at the footage, I can say, hey, I can probably come up with a joke or two about what's going on at the time, or when I slow it down, I can pick out and pinpoint the things that say, hey, that shouldn't be there. But when in real time, I could also do that too. Um, which would probably make it a little bit more funnier. But I guess I got to figure that part out. So since it is the new year, I don't know if it's everyone's tradition to have a resolution when it comes to the new year. I try to do it. I tend to fail almost every year. But no, it's not going to the gym or doing all that type of stuff. Not eating healthy or whatnot. Even though that should be something, but whatever. Um, but my goal for the year is to be more consistent with attempting to do this, and more consistent in terms of, I don't know, just keeping my life together. um, but it's going to be somewhat demand, a little tricky to do with my current job because I frequently travel um, out of the city and out of the state. So, and I don't work the standard 8-hour days. I work 10 hours, or depending on where I go for work, it depends on how long said company works for. So it can be anywhere from 8 hours to 12 hours. So I have to have those mental health days every now and again, um, just to, like I said, keep myself in check and stay consistent. Um, but with that said, I hope you all have a good 2026. You know, keep doing what you do, and you know, stay safe out there. All right, that's it. My boy Stan says peace out.